Salutations audience, you're watching Bavery Co. I'm Ben, and today I'm dispensing advice for the friends of the creatively inclined. So by creatively inclined, I mean anyone who has a creative talent. So painters and artists in general, writers, musicians. If one of your friends is like this, you'll know what I'm talking about. So this is just some basic advice for dealing with this sort of person and maintaining a good friendship with this sort of person. So number one, you have to respect them. Creative people are very protective of their own work, and so they may be reluctant to show you what they've done or what they've created. Don't take this as being conceited, you're too plebeian to understand my genius, or as a rude gesture of just, I'm not showing you my work. Instead, remember that if they show you their work, they are placing a great deal of trust in you, because to them it's like their child. It's something that they created, something that they've put their effort into, and so you have to respect that, and you have to respect them. So therefore, never demand to see someone's work. Instead, ask politely. So instead of going, oh, can I see your work? 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 And scaring them, just go, is it okay if I see your work? And be understanding if they say no, because they might not be at that stage of showing people yet. Number two, never make comparisons. So your friend will have put a lot of time and effort into their work, so if they let you see it, do not make comparisons to other people's work. Even a positive comparison such as, oh, it's really reminiscent of Picasso. Even though you may think, oh, they're going to be really happy because I compared them to one of the greatest painters of all time, could be taken in a negative way, as your friend may feel that you've undermined them by saying that their work is not original. But there is one important corollary, which is one important exception. So my corollary, there we go, is for the friend of writers in particular. If your friend is looking to get their work published, but you know that their work is not original, and I'm not saying that they've purposely plagiarized, they've just written a novel or a series of short stories that bear a very, very uncanny resemblance to something already published, you have to tell them. Because if they get that book published, they could get sued. And you don't want to have gone, I've read this somewhere before. So don't go up to them and go, hey, you just stole so-and-so's work. You have to say, can we have a discussion about your book? Because I feel like I've read it somewhere before. So you have to be careful with them. But never make comparisons unless you're doing it in the best interest of your friend. Number three, never expect anything for free. So having a creatively inclined friend is great, but you can't take advantage of it. So say you're in a relationship and it's their birthday and your partner's birthday is coming up, and you want to get them something really, really special. What's better than a hand-done drawing of your partner's favourite movie protagonist? And it just so happens that you have a very, very good artist friend. Well, firstly, your friend may not actually do commission. So commission is when creative people sell their talent. So people put in requests for stuff and they pay for these requests. So firstly, your friend may not actually take requests or commissions, and that could be for a number of personal reasons. Number two, if your friend does do commissioned work, they may still charge you for it, even though you're their friend. You may have someone who's really nice and may do it as a one-off freebie, but don't go into the agreement believing that, because it is still their time that they're taking up to do this for you, so they may still charge you for a commission. And thirdly, despite being your friend, they may actually refuse your commission. So every artist, writer, musician who does commission does reserve the right to refuse commission. And so they may have too much to do, or they may not be comfortable with what you've asked them to draw. And so never expect anything from your friend, because they may have a set of rules that they abide by which you've completely overlooked. Number 4, take a genuine interest in their work, but don't subject them to interrogation. So a great way to bond with your creatively inclined friend is to take an interest in their work. However, this can quickly turn into an uncomfortable barrage of questions. Try phrasing your questions carefully as not to make them uncomfortable. So what I'm trying to say here is, it's great if you want to take an interest in your friend's work, and it may make them feel better because their friends are taking interest in something that they want to do, but you don't want to turn it into an interview, or you don't want to make them feel like they don't really want to answer your questions. So instead of asking them, who are your influences, which may put them on the spot, and it may make them have to fake an answer because they don't actually have influences, you ask them, is there anyone in particular who influences your work? That gives them a better chance to say, oh, it's not someone famous, or I don't really have influences, I just write what I see, or I paint what I see. Also, you have to avoid putting them on the spot. So instead of taking their book and going, so what's the message behind the book? Tell me, or pointing at their art and demanding to know the meaning behind the painting, you ask them, what do you try to convey, if anything, in your work? Because then that lets them say, oh, I just drew it for fun, or there is actually a message behind it. They may actually follow up that question. Going off topic slightly, they may actually follow that question with, what do you think it means? And so that's a great way to get into conversation with them, if you have debate about the different interpretations of their work, instead of them just giving you a answer. Furthermore, be sparing of your questions. Don't just barrage them. Don't be like a shell. Don't be like an artillery rifle and bomb them with questions, because that's just going to make them uncomfortable, and they're going to feel like you're just asking them questions for the sake of asking them questions. And finally, this is probably the most important one, be the right kind of honest. So honesty as a friend is hard, so you have to be kind, but you have to protect your friends. So if a friend shows you their work, you need to approach it carefully. You need to express how you feel without insulting them, but being too loyal to the friendship, and you may dupe your friend into believing their work is better than it actually is, or even worse, they'll see through what you're saying and be upset because you lied to them. However, too honest and you effectively end friendship. So I have a few pieces of advice for how to be honest. So number 1 is, find a way to express your opinion. For example, if your friend is an artist and they show you a painting and the painting is quite experimental or out there and you don't particularly like it, you have to find a way to say that. So maybe, it's a very good piece, and I can see you've put a lot of effort into it, but it's just not my preferred style. So what you're saying there is, I don't really like the painting, but I'm not saying the painting is shit. Number 2, if their work is truly terrible, you have to find a tactful way to tell them before they get hurt. So if your friend writes a novel and it is crap, you do need to tell them it is crap, especially if they're looking to get published, because they'll just get laughed at and they'll just get rejected because it's crap. But you can't go to them, your novel's crap. You have to go, let's talk about your novel, let's see if we can improve it, because I'm worried that you might get rejected. And if that leads to the end of your friendship, then I don't think your friend is very nice, because you were trying to help them. And thirdly and finally, take your time to look over the piece. So don't just give an answer. So if they show you if they show you a painting or they give you a manuscript to read, don't come back to them immediately and go, it was brilliant, it was great, Oh, your painting is amazing. Oh, that song was mind-blowing. Take the time. Listen. If it's a song, listen to it 2 or 3 times. If it's a painting, take half an hour to do it. If it's a manuscript, read it twice. A rushed response will seem false and insincere. If you actually give yourself the time to formulate a response, it's going to seem much more sincere, and it will probably be a better reflection of what you actually think. So that's my advice for the friends of the creatively inclined. If you have any other advice that I've missed out, or you want to change my advice slightly, just post it in the comments below. Avery will be back next week, and I shall see you in 2 weeks' time, guys. Have a great week.